Nothing's coming up for me. Come on.
Ooh.
I'll close it and come back to it in a second. In a hot second.
Receiving your content. You are live.
Why can I not find Ilya on... Ilya, do you even have a Twitter?
No, I got rid of it.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Hee hee.
I'm just gonna...
Hello everyone. Please give us like 2 seconds while we're getting ready, posting the links and whatnot.
Doing the posting. Oh, I posted it, and it's a lot of really crazy things happening right now. It says DC Universe. Oh, now it says Link Origins. But it also says DC Universe Review.
Yeah.
What
that was the last live stream.
What in tarnation?
What in tarnation?
Oh wait, we go to Twitter.
Ooh. My
Also,
stomach does not
for
like
everyone,
me.
if you join the Discord, there's a link in the description. You can go there and put your questions in the Zelda mailbag, and then maybe we'll answer them, right? Yeah.
Maybe.
Hey! It's Waluigi.
Hey. You didn't do any volume tests.
No.
Oh my gosh. And I'm probably quiet because I have my mic so far away.
No, everyone's kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
See? Hello. Chiblihima.
Hello.
Say something,
And
Chubes.
hello, this is me. I am Tubes. I'm also drinking A&W.
Hi, Mr. Whale. He said hi.
Yeah, Ilya's a little bit louder than Tubes.
Oh, wow. They're surprising.
Maybe we can turn Tubes up.
I beat Super Mario Party today, and I remember Daniel in the chat was like, how does one beat Super Mario Party? Well, like, we collected all the gems, and, like, we did basically everything there was to do aside from actually play the game, so, like, we unlocked all the new characters. It was a good time.
Alright.
Was kind of expecting a little bit more from the end game, but, I mean, it's Mario Party. What was I expecting?
Based on what I've seen, I do wish there were more boards, but I'm glad there's a lot of good minigames.
The minigames are a lot of fun. There's only one minigame that I absolutely hate.
Does it have a story at all?
No.
No.
You just have to become a superstar, and you're friends with bad guys.
It's weird that there's only 2 different bonus stars. I was expecting more bonus stars.
Wow, there's way more than 2 bonus stars.
What? I only saw 2, which was most coins earned from minigames and something negative. Like not red spaces, but like question marks or something.
Oh no, the bonus stars change all the time. Like I was playing the partners one, and it's like whoever had like the most allies. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't even know what the. Okay, that adds. I do like how the boards are set up, even though they're like really small. It looks like you have a lot more strategy involved.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like because most Super Mario Party games are very luck oriented, which sometimes bothered me. So
no, this one definitely feels more strategy based, which is why I'm not good at it because I don't do strategy.
Well, I just remember the last time I played Mario Party 5 with a bunch of friends from school a couple years ago. Literally every time someone got the star, it was moved to wherever I was standing. So I couldn't get it. And I had so many coins.
So my favorite is like, so there are different dice blocks for every character. And so Peach, I remember she was like standing right in front of the star space and she kept using her special block, but every time she used it, she rolled a 0. So there were 4 times that she rolled a 0 instead of actually rolling to get the star. And I was like, thanks Peach for the free star. Yoink.
Bye.
Anyways, shall we get this show on the road?
Sure. Although I could always listen to people talk about Mario.
Like if you like Mario Party, someone said.
Alright, are you guys ready?
Bri.
Yeah.
Did you... Tubes?
Hi.
You literally just sent a snap. chat?
I sent that like a while ago. I sent it of my background here. Also, everyone, check this out. I got this. I'm trying to. This is not working well.
What's my thing doing? That's what I'm doing. Okay.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's rumble.
It's sad Daniel's not here.
I know.
No.
I miss him.
Okay.
Jinx.
We hardly knew him. R.I.P.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hylian Gamescast episode 57, where we will be talking about Nintendo's Origins of Link, a Nintendo 64 Classic Mini leak with photos of the supposed console itself, as well as a list of games. We have the new hacked ROM that Nintendo released for the eShop of the original Legend of Zelda, or the Hyrule Fantasy as it was first known. And then we're going to be talking about Super Mario Sunshine before going into your questions for the Zelda mailbag. So if you would like to have your question guaranteed to be answered on the show, you can become a Patreon supporter, just like Jacob, Michael, Elmer, Bootleg Boy, Gus, Justin, That One Pancake, Key of Time 15, Monica, Casey, Link, Use the Triforce, Megan, Lunarium, Robbie, Shadow to Us, Rusty Caulfield, and Lovable Christy. Alright, Ilya, Chablima, thank you guys for joining on the podcast. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We will be back next week for episode 58. No, okay, so we can get started with the origins of Link, I guess, which is kind of something that people already knew, but it's nude. It's something everyone kind of already knew, but for some reason it's been making the rounds again in new articles. So I thought it would be nice for those who may not know the origins of how Link came to be and his design and his naming and everything. So we will begin with that. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So this first piece of news comes from Nintendo Soup, where they say Miyamoto reveals how Link was named and designed. It says, one of the biggest mysteries people unfamiliar with The Legend of Zelda is Link's name. How did he get his name, and why is his name Link? In an interview with French website GameCult, legendary game designer Shigeru Miyamoto was asked about the origins behind Link's name. Miyamoto said when they first started developing The Legend of Zelda, they imagined the fragments of the Triforce were electronic chips. Miyamoto further explained that The Legend of Zelda would happen in both the past and the future, so as the protagonist is in a link between the past and the future. He is thus named Link in English. At the end of the day, they abandoned the futuristic theme, but the name stuck to Link. We also learned more about how Link was designed. Takahashi Tezuka, I hope I pronounced that right, a video game producer at Nintendo, came up with Link's original design due to the limitations of the NES. It was hard to create a recognizable character. Tezuka made Link's sword and shield bigger. They also had to decide what color out of 3 colors they would use for Link. To distinguish Link from the weapons, Tezuka thought of giving Link a long hat and big ears, which led to the team receiving inspiration from an elf-like character called Peter Pan. Miyamoto felt green, Peter Pan's color, was the perfect color for Link, so Link became green. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Yes, so this is something that I would say a lot of the more hardcore Zelda fans would know, maybe some casual fans. But what are your guys' thoughts on all of this with Link? Because in more recent interviews, Miyamoto's mentioned that the name Link is there because not for Link to be a link between the past and the future, but to be a link between the game and the player, because they want the player to be like whenever they play the game, they want the player to feel as if they are Link, which is why they try not to have Link speak or anything like that. That way the person can see themselves as the main character as much as possible. So it seems there's a few different reasons why they stuck with the name Link, but yeah, starting with you, Tubes.
Me? Well, I think the name Link makes sense, of course, and I think like it kind of depends, and I feel like it's more kind of open to everyone's interpretation of why they would call it Link. Did Jesse mute himself?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. There's like lots of background noise from you, and then I went really quiet.
Sorry.
But yeah, anyways, I think it's like up to everyone else's interpretation of how they view and how they are personally linked to the game, or what links the different elements of the game together. So that's probably why they would have named him Link.
And what about the past future scenario, which is something they ended up doing with Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, like I feel like that's something that kind of takes place a couple of different times and is relevant, but at the same time, like the entire timeline of Breath of the Wild. Sorry, I had it on my mind. I was playing it today. The entire timeline of Zelda is just very strange. Sorry, I gotta get comfortable. I'm just very, very strange, but yeah. But yeah, he's definitely a Peter Pan-esque.
Alright. In
a very
Ilya,
weird way.
Did you know about this information already? What were your thoughts?
I did, but it's always nice to have a little reminder of the origins of one of your favorite fandoms, if you will. I think it's funny that choosing the name Link, which for when I was younger, I thought it was short for Lincoln. I honestly thought that because I knew some people named Lincoln and they would go by Link, or they hated going by Link, what have you. Anyway, but I find it funny that was just meant to be like, oh, it's a link between the player and the game, which ended up becoming a pun in a lot of the video game names. A link between worlds, a link to the past. So they like literally use it as a pun, which is funny-ish. And it makes sense because until Breath of the Wild, you could name the character whatever you wanted because it was just naming your file, essentially. But then they would call you that. So it's, that's why you get like really weird names. Like I was watching, what was it, like an old video from Peanut Butter Gamer when he did like Wind Waker Chaos Edition, and he named his Link P-Booty. So funny stuff like that.
I have named Link and Epona very strange things in Twilight Princess. I
always just did Link. When I was really young, I did Zelda because I was, really, really young, and I was like 3, 4 when Ocarina of Time came out and didn't understand who Zelda was. I learned. My brothers educated me. Yeah. But as far as like, which I know it changes things in certain games, but as far as like his outfit and everything goes, I always thought it was odd when I found out that, they were limited on what colors they could choose. At first, I was very confused why they chose green, because I was like, he's in nature. Why would you choose the same color as most of nature? That's going to get confusing. And then when I learned later on the Peter Pan reference, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And so, also, this was all kind of like old information for me, but I always like it.
Maybe he's camouflaged. Yeah, I always named my people, or I always named Link really weird names. There's a guy that I hung out with, and he always named him Rinku, or whatever, like his Japanese name.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, the one interesting thing that I've seen here, which I've heard like different takes on it, but with Link being directly inspired by Peter Pan, it seems from this interview at least that they already had the idea to make him an elf-like person with a long hat and everything, and then they just chose to make the outfit green to go with Peter Pan, because he already had the elf-like ears and the hat, and the clothes already matched Peter Pan. So then they just took it a step further and made the color of the clothes and the ears and everything also match. So although not directly inspired by Peter Pan, it's interesting to know that they already had the concept and then they just like went like with it fully, as opposed to starting with the idea of, hey, we want the hero to look like Peter Pan. And it's
when really it was like they were inspired by the color. They're like, we like the color of Peter Pan. We're gonna make Link that color.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the idea of if they would have went with the computer chips as opposed to the Triforce, which if you have the Hyrule Historia, I think you can go and like find design art and stuff from the original game. But it's interesting to think about how different everything would be if instead of Triforce, or instead of the pieces of a Triforce that would each be represented by Ganon, Link, and Zelda, that you have the whenever they come together, you can like have whatever wish you want. So instead of that, if the entire series would have been based off of computer chips that would have let you travel back and forth through time, as opposed to a Triforce that would give you a wish. So if they would have went with that original idea, the entire Zelda series as we know it would be completely different. Like there wouldn't be a Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, or anything. There would be games maybe similar to those, like with the graphical style and stuff, but the actual stories would be completely different. So it's always interesting.
Me personally, I'm glad they didn't go with that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like there's a lot of people that say that they wish like another big what if for the Zelda series would have been if the Ura Zelda would have released, and if that would have happened, we wouldn't have Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, or any of these other games. Like we would have something else.
That would be terrible.
Yeah, we would have something else completely. Like Majora's Mask would have just never existed because that game came to be because they had all the leftover stuff from Ura Zelda. So it's just interesting, like looking back at all of these what ifs. Like if America, or at least North America, didn't hate Wind Waker so much when it first released, we would have had Wind Waker 2 instead of Twilight Princess. So,
which is always odd to think about, because you're like, I love Wind Waker, but I also love Twilight Princess, so I'm almost glad people got mad, even though Wind Waker's great, but I also like Twilight Princess. Which, one random note on the whole, like, it's always interesting to look at like the origins of how a character gets their look or their name, because sometimes when you think about literature, there might be some really in-depth reason, like, oh, they took all their names from Greek mythology or Norse mythology or something like that, whereas things just kind of happen, which makes me think of, random side note, Kirby's design was literally just meant to be a placeholder, and then they were like, that works, just leave it.
That's really funny. Another thing was, in the original artwork for Kirby, they actually had him drawn gray.
Yeah.
But then in the colored versions, whenever they actually added color to him, they made him pink, and then that kind of stuck throughout the series. So
that's why I thought Kirby was a girl for like my whole life.
Yeah. Is there a female Kirby? Like, is there a Miss Kirby? Like Miss Pac-Man? Maybe? I
don't actually know. I have a little Kirby stuffed plushie somewhere back there in that crate. See it? Next to my, what's it called? The Harry Potter thing. Well, I named her Nora. But it's from the Wizarding World. I love it. But yeah, no, I don't know if there's another.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone in the chats could tell us.
I looked up female Kirby and I got Jigglypuff.
Interesting.
But the thing is like growing up, like I've always been like this though. Like I didn't just be like, oh, Kirby is this gender. I was just like, Kirby's Kirby.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, Gibbs in the chat, just to clarify, yeah, I'm in a different room. I didn't move. I just changed rooms. It has a better setup in here. So.
All right. You guys are ready? I cannot talk tonight. Are you guys ready to move on to the next? Yeah. Are you guys ready to fart? No. Are you guys ready to move on to the next news story?
All right. Let's do it.
Would either of you like to take it? The NES Classic Mini leak.
Which one?
The NES, not NES. I'm an idiot. Sorry. The N64 leak.
I can.
Sweet.
Do it up.
Does this need a new intro, or we're just going, right?
You have to introduce the website and the top.
Well, I mean, new video intro. No. We don't need that yet. Okay, cool. It's been a while. I haven't been on in a while. All right. So this piece of news comes from trustedreviews.com. So I'm assuming this is trustworthy. So we'll see. But you know what they say about assuming. So it says, the NES Classic Mini and the SNES Classic Mini have sold like hotcakes since they both launched. So much so that they're still incredibly difficult to find in stores. By capitalizing on our nostalgia with a library of fantastic games, the miniature consoles are an essential kit for hardcore Nintendo fans. With the recent news that Sega is miniature market with the Saga Mega Drive Mini, hopefully Nintendo responds with yet another incredible little piece of warm nostalgia. They continue on with, will we see an N64 Classic Mini in 2018? We certainly hope so, as do I. Mine just crapped out on me earlier. So the N64 is a treasure trove of some of the best early 3D titles. Trusted Reviews has compiled all the latest news and rumors alongside our wish list potential games. So the first thing they say is this hardware a possibility, and is there a list of games leaked? A potential design for the 64 Mini might have been leaked online, although we'd take things with a pinch of salt until official confirmation, which you should always do with leaks, people. Always. Nacho on Twitter has provided a series of images which appear to feature the N64 Mini, and many of them look quite genuine, but it could just be crappy plastic for all we know. These could always just be professional renders, though. I should just read what it says rather than give you my commentary. Anyway, Nacho claims... What? Nacho claims to have received the images from Inside Contact, although they have decided to remain anonymous. Of course, they'd probably get in trouble. If fake, the creator has done an incredible job creating a piece of hardware that looks very accurate to the original design. It also supports, there's a lot of typos in this, which makes me not trust it. But anyway, it supports similar controller ports to the SNES and NES Mini, further adding credibility. In addition, Nintendo recently relisted the manuals of 19 Nintendo 64 titles, hinting at the potential lineup for a rumored mini console. We've listed every single one, all 19. They are 1080 Snowboarding, Bomberman 64, Donkey Kong, Excitebike 64. I'm reacting as I see these. It makes me so excited. F-Zero X, Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Mario 64, obviously. Mario Party 2, Mario Tennis. Oh, these are so good. Paper Mario, Pokemon Snap. Oh, I would cry. Sin and Punishment, Star Fox 64, Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Wave Race 64. Oh, that one was fun. Yoshi's Story. No banjo. Fine. Anyway, if the N64 Mini does come to fruition, we would expect its release to arrive ready for Christmas 2018. That's
early.
I wonder when this article came out. I doubt that. I really doubt that. I would love it, but which will no doubt see nostalgic players eager to treat themselves or surprise friends with a miniature version of the classic console. The above list of titles is stellar. Yeah. Compiling a lovely collection of classics alongside a few unexpected surprises. Yeah, Wave Race. Whether they end up gracing the Mini remains to be seen. And then they basically just confirm what an N64 Mini is, which I'm like, it's literally just fits in the palm of your hand.
Yeah. So the design leak is basically what everyone would already imagine. Just like an N64 shrunken down with the Wiimote connectors instead of the normal N64 controllers. It does look real, like someone went through the trouble of actually trying to make it. But at the same time, they there was fake Nintendo Switches that were like designed and leaked. Like if everyone remembers that weird obscure Nintendo NX controller that everyone thought was like real or like a design or whatever, because Nintendo did patent it, and then they ended up making an actual design based off of Nintendo's patent. I don't know what Nintendo was thinking with that idea. That was just like a really weird thing that it was just really weird. It was like oval shaped and everything. But with this, like, it looks similar to how I would imagine it looking. They even have like really up close shots. Yes.
One thing that weirds me out about it is like when you look at the pictures of the leak, it's like it has the regular faceplate and it shows like the original like plugins for the N64, and then in the next image it shows like it looks like that faceplate pulls forward to reveal like where they would plug in like the new controllers, which I think is very weird looking. And like based on what we've seen from the NES and SNES Mini, like I feel like they wouldn't do it that way, so that's the only thing that I'm kind of iffy about.
Yeah. Maybe
I'm iffy about some of the games that they said would release, actually.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this sounds weird, but I mean, it seems like it would be obvious. Of course there would be Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask, but I don't know. Maybe just because there's the 3DS one, I'm like, would they though? But then again, it's like, well, you can't have an N64 without those games. My thing would be, they probably, if this was real, which I would love for it to be real, I would totally want this. My thing would be, there are a lot of other games I'd really want, some of which probably aren't possible, like Banjo-Kazooie. So that would suck for me. I'd be like, I really want Banjo-Kazooie, but I understand they probably can't.
Yeah, and I was looking at this list and I was like, yeah, all of this is exciting and stuff, but my boyfriend pretty much owns like most of these games.
Yeah, I own a lot of them now. Like I said, my N64 seems to be crapping out on us, but we also need to find an older TV to make our N64 work, which is why a mini N64 might be decently successful, just because I hate having to pull out such an old TV so that my N64 will work properly. It will not work on like newer TVs, even like in the past 10 years, sort of. And I'm like, and there are some games you can only play on the N64. So
yeah. So with this list, go through and each of us will name off our 3 favorites and then 1 or 2 that you wish were included.
Okay.
Right? How's that sound? Choobs?
Yeah.
You wanna go first?
Yeah. I am excited about, I think, Bomberman 64, Yoshi's Story, and I think probably Paper Mario. Like, I know I should probably be picking a Zelda game, but like Ilya said, it's like, I have the Zelda games on many consoles. Like, I have it on the original, like, I have an N64, I purchased it on the Wii shop, I have it on my DS. It's like, there's no end to the amount of Zelda I have in my life, so that's why I'm not going to pick one of those, so I feel kind of lame. Actually, I feel like Majora's Mask would probably be one of those too. One thing that I would like to see on here, though, would probably be Bomberman Hero, and also Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, because that game is hard to stream, and it's nowhere to be found, and it was so good. Or, Jet Force Gemini. Yeah.
All right.
Mine.
Ilya?
For me, I really like Donkey Kong 64. This is actually really tough. I would say Pokemon Snap, but it's such a simple game, I would get bored too easily. Mario Party 2, because that's a really good game, but if you're going to play Mario Party now, you're going to play one of the newer ones. Well, except the 2 where you're in a 4-car thing.
Yeah.
But I would really love to play Mario Party 2 again. And maybe this sounds super stupid. Oh, no. I was going to say Wave Race, but that would get bored quickly, too. I have weird nostalgia with that. I would say Mario Tennis, actually. I really like the old Mario Tennis, the sounds of it. I would change my mind if I actually were to buy one, but 2 games I would really want on here. I already mentioned Banjo-Kazooie. I know that it's not possible. Probably wouldn't be possible unless they can make a deal with Microsoft. Although it was in Nintendo's, it was Nintendo's when it was on the N64, but legal things. And the other one actually is Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
The first one. I love the mini games in Pokemon Stadium. So
yeah, they don't have Pokemon Stadium on there. That's weird.
a lot of people hated it. Like most people I know hated it. I like them. Maybe that's because I didn't play the main series.
I was gonna say I really liked them, but like I only played the mini games.
Yeah. I really liked like the Rattata one where you're jumping. I loved the Lickitung one. I think I've mentioned this before. I would eat the spicy stuff on purpose just to make the Lickitung go crazy.
Yeah, that one's in the second Pokemon Stadium game, I believe.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, they should make it a twofer.
All right, so mine would be Donkey Kong 64. I would be excited to go through, play again. Majora's Mask. And Paper Mario are the ones that would be at the top 3 on my list. And then I think that if it did come out, the N64 Mini, there is a high chance that it could have Banjo-Kazooie on it, at least one of the 2 games, because Nintendo went out of their way to make a Minecraft edition Nintendo 3DS, which is an Xbox-owned game, like how Banjo is now. So they basically made an Xbox first-party game edition of a Nintendo 3DS. And Nintendo and Microsoft have been really friendly lately.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
I think the chances of Banjo showing up on the Nintendo 64 Mini are better than ever. Especially if it is a situation to where Nintendo doesn't have to pay any licensing fees or anything to Xbox to have it. Like if Microsoft was just, okay, like you don't have to pay us anything, you can just put it on there, it'll be like good promotion for us and it gives you guys an extra game as well. So, and then even if it doesn't, everyone's going to hack the N64 Mini to put the game on there anyways.
Yeah.
So
if people don't get what they want, they'll put it on there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that.
Also, I just thought of. Sorry.
No.
Because there's quite a few games on this list that I'm like, I wouldn't have fun for too long on it, but I have memories with it. One I know my brother would want for just the hell of it. NASCAR 64.
Oh, wow.
We had the giant steering wheel thing and everything. The commentary was hilarious on that game. Oh my gosh, I think we pulled that out like a year ago just to hear the commentary. Like my brother did one race and he was like, this game sucks, but the commentary's hilarious.
Aw.
Mario Tennis looks really fun too. But we have Mario Tennis on the Switch, so it's like...
That's true. That's true. I guess because I don't have Mario Tennis, I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, I don't have Mario Tennis either. I still haven't decided if I actually want to buy it.
And they
I'm
don't
surprised
really...
Diddy Kong Racing isn't listed on here.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Oh, yeah,
that's a classic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I preferred Mario Kart myself.
Me too.
But
yeah, same.
But if I'm going to play Mario Kart, it's going to be on the Switch.
Oh, yes. Someone mentioned that Smash Bros. Isn't on this list.
Yeah, that is
odd. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of other old games, so you would think they would have those.
And I feel like when they've released more than that amount of games for their other consoles, didn't they? So, like, there's a good chance that, like, we're still talking, like, this probably isn't a real thing, so what?
True. I just thought of something. So, in Japan, they could have the original Animal Crossing on the N64 Mini.
But would we really want to play the original Animal Crossing on N64 when they have taken it and improved it and then moved it to GameCube? And even then, playing the one on GameCube is hard.
That's true. Also, Mr. Whale says, "Hey You Pikachu." I adored that game, even though I had no idea what the heck was going on in that game. That would be hilarious.
I never owned it. I always wanted to, and I remember seeing commercials for it.
There's so many great games that they could have put on there.
It was such a bad game, but I loved it.
Oh man, a girl can dream.
All right, before we move on to the next, to put one of your dream games on this list, if you had to remove one, what's like the one game on this list that you could deal with never playing?
Whatever the hell Sin and Punishment is.
Yeah.
There's a few games on here. I don't know what they are.
All right, don't kill me, but I would say Wave Race 64.
I was gonna say like Wave Race, Sin and Punishment, Excite Bike. Like that's not as exciting as it really is.
Excite Bike was amazing.
Like it's great and all, but it's not that exciting.
Where's Glover? Glover creeped me out, actually, to be real.
All right.
And instead of the 1080 snowboarding, they should have Snowboard Kids on there.
Snowboard Kids?
I never heard of that one.
I haven't either.
Snowboard Kids is so much fun. That's the one that I grew up playing. Loved it.
Never heard of that.
Alright, so Tubes, would you like to take the final news story?
Me and my Tubes. Yeah, okay, I can do that. Dun, 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 dun. What am I looking at here?
Oh, this is pretty imagery they have on this one.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's our good friend Brett. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
From Nintendo Enthusiast.
From the Golden Gopher.
Yeah. From Golden Gopher. Mm-mm.
For those who, for those who don't know, it's Nintendo put as one of the new games for this month on the Nintendo Switch. They put it like a hacked version of the original Legend of Zelda on that starts you out with like all the items and stuff to make it easier for the younger people who don't like to grind out.
Me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hacked version?
How young?
Nintendo putting hacked things on a console?
Yeah. There was also some controversy on whether or not they made the ROM version themselves or if they had downloaded like a fan-made mod, because there's one that's really well known for doing the exact same thing and just uploading it.
Ooh.
Which technically they would have the right to do since it would be a mod of their own game anyways. So, but anyways, Tubes.
Woo. Okay. So from Nintendo Enthusiast, they had an entire video about this, but it's just kind of like briefly posted on their website. Prior to the launch of Switch Online, Nintendo had detailed some of the classic NES games coming to the platform. These titles can be found in the Nintendo Entertainment System area once you are subscribed to the service. However, we were previously led to believe that there are only 3 titles being added the month of October. Those 3 being Solomon's Key, NES Open Tournament Golf, and Super Dodgeball. There is now a 4th promise games coming in the form of The Legend of Zelda SP. This game is also known as The Legend of Zelda, Living the Life of Luxury. So is that it? It's just they're just talking about how.
Well, yeah. So it's a hacked ROM, gives you all of the items from the beginning, gives you all of the power-ups, gives you a whole bunch of rupees and everything to make it a lot easier for fans. So
yeah, so there it is. It's like, so you might be wondering, what's the difference between the SP and the standard version of the game? When starting the game for The Legend of Zelda SP, according to the description, you'll already have a sack full of rupees, white sword, the magical shield, power bracelet, and blue ring. Although this isn't exactly game-changing, it does offer access to anyone who's looking to pick up the classic title without many of the frustrations and challenges that are visible in the original version. Which makes sense. We all watched Daniel play through that. And oh man, did he suffer. Not as much as he suffered through Zelda 2, but he suffered.
Yeah. So, first off, I want to ask, what's everyone's thoughts on this? Because Ilya, you've mentioned a few times how you kind of got stuck, not knowing exactly where to go for the dungeons. So,
well,
with
this, the map thing, I just need to get a map. I haven't found a dungeon yet.
Yeah. So but with this, like, so in the original game, you can kind of go to any dungeon that you want to, but you do need to go out and find the items that you would need to access the dungeon or use to destroy the enemies in that dungeon. But with this, you can go to any dungeon. So nothing's off limits. You can literally go into any dungeon, not have to worry about anything, because they're all virtually going to be around the same difficulty. So your thoughts on this? And the second question is, can you think of another NES or Super Nintendo game that you would like them to release this kind of hack for in the future? Like, Daniel was having a lot of trouble in Zelda 2. So if they did this exact same thing for Zelda 2 next month or in the coming months, it would make Daniel's life a lot easier. He wouldn't be dying every time he starts the temple over.
Oh my gosh. Well,
if you're watching, Daniel, no, we're not hating.
We just
he knows it. But I mean, like, I joke, like, oh yeah, this would make it so much easier for me, when really the main thing I need is an app. I don't know if I would actually want to use this version, but I'm not necessarily, like, upset that this version exists. I know we've all heard of people that are like, oh, that's so dumb. You're ruining the original Zelda. It's like, it's not like you can't get the original.
Yeah, you can literally
They're not replacing it.
Click over and play the original.
Yeah.
I know, and so people need to calm down about that. People, it's always the fan base. We just need to chill out. They know what they're doing. So I think it's cool. I think it would be good for other players that are, like me, intimidated by the original Zelda. I personally would rather play it the way it's kind of meant to be played, because I think this kind of hacking is different than what they did for, like, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Like, Ocarina of Time, they made it so that you could equip your boots rather than having to go to the start menu and constantly change your boots in the water temple. That was like a fix, whereas this is more of a hack, just meant to make everything super duper easy. So I don't know if I would want to do it, but I can see it working out for a lot of people. As far as other games I'd want to be done for, I don't know a ton of NES or Super NES games. The only game I literally remember playing on the Super Nintendo was Mario Paint, and I don't think that needs this kind of treatment. Just Mario Paint. So, yeah, that's it from me.
All right, Choops.
I think that this is good and useful for anyone younger that wants to try playing it. Personally, I wouldn't play this version because I won't even play the other version of it. I would rather watch other people play it than try to play it myself, because I'm not very interested in playing the first Zelda game. It's like, I don't like the soundtrack, I don't like the way it looks, I don't like anything about it. It's just, I tried when I first got my NES and it's just not my thing, so I think I will stick to just watching other people play it until then. But I'm always all for allowing younger generations to enjoy the games that we did enjoy.
All right. And were there any other games that you would like to see this treatment with?
Definitely Zelda 2. Zelda 2, I feel like I could actually go and play that game. Seems a little bit more magical, but a little bit more terrible. So I think that it could really use a little bit of help with that.
All right. I guess mine would be, I would like to see them do this with Zelda 2 as well, but I would also, I think, so there's games like Contra that people use the famous Konami code for, and they basically unlock everything anyways. So I'm not sure if, like, I can't really think of other games that would be good, because I know it's not replacing the game, but for me a lot of the fun does come from, like, figuring it out yourself. Like, if you try to get through a dungeon 3 or 4 times and you fail, and then you play it that 5th time and you make it through, that's what makes you feel great about it, like you accomplished something. So if they just give you everything for you to go out and do that with, then I could see why people are kind of against this. But at the same time, for like the 5-year-old or the 6-year-old who may have played a little bit of Breath of the Wild and they want to experience the first Zelda game, giving them the ability to like freely roam around the world of Hyrule in the first Zelda game to discover all of the stuff themselves without having to worry about dying every time they get to the next screen. I think that's really good because it might encourage them once they are able to like go around the world and figure out how the game mechanics work. Maybe that will encourage them to go to the original version and be like, okay, I think I can do this now that I actually understand how to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, I believe we can move on to Mario Sunshine, or...
I have a quick thought about the Mario Sunshine thing. We definitely did that like 3 podcasts ago.
We did?
Are you sure?
Definitely did.
I know we discussed doing it, and then we changed our minds. Did we?
I thought we were going to do something else, and then we changed our minds to Super Mario Sunshine, because it was the only one that you and I had actually played.
I thought that was the time we brought Gibbs on and ended up doing Animal Crossing. Unless there was another time where we changed it. But I also haven't been on.
Oh, maybe
else,
we
so
didn't do it then, because I totally forgot about the Animal Crossing thing.
Because if y'all did it, I definitely wasn't on because I don't remember saying what I liked and didn't like about it.
Oh yeah, okay, no we didn't. Yeah, you're right. We switched it from Sunshine to Animal Crossing. Okay. We good.
Woo!
We good. Let's do this.
Okay.
Jesse, it's okay.
Alright. I was immediately trying to think of something else that we could
I just
do.
had to
The
like
wheels all of a sudden started turning. Wait.
I just had to like verbally work that out because I was like, didn't we already do that? And then like talking to Ilya, I was like, no, we didn't.
My toe still feels broke.
You should go
I'm
get that
afraid
checked
when
out.
the podcast ends, I'm gonna take off my sock and my toe's just gonna be black. Or like
Then you would need to go somewhere.
my toe will
I've
just
lost a
fall
toenail
off.
once. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Oh. I broke my ankle once.
Oh.
Or so since it is close to Halloween, how would you guys feel about Luigi's Mansion?
I've never played it.
No?
What?
I watched my brothers play it. But that would have been perfect. I can listen to
Buying
y'all
the
talk about it,
3DS
like,
version.
since it is close to Halloween. I wouldn't mind just listening to y'all talk about it. Convince me to play it.
Actually, fun fact, I'm doing a kind of Luigi's Mansion based event coming up pretty soon.
Oh. So Tubes, do you want to do Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah, convince me to play it.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we could.
Alright. So we'll do 2 each, and then Ilya can just say from watching people play it or what she knows about it, what she thinks might be her favorite or worst, whatever. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
You gonna do an intro? Are you thinking over
I
there?
also need to grab something real quick.
Are you doing a big old think over there?
I suck at this. So
Hey, man.
I bought
got
Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS a few days ago. Yes, it's great. Luigi's Mansion movie directed by Tim Burton. Oh, that would be interesting.
I'd be a little bit concerned about how they would make Luigi's face look, because you know how Tim Burton does things animated.
Yeah.
Ba-da-da-da.
They'd make him like 50 pounds less, so he looks super skinny.
Very skinny. He'd probably almost look like Waluigi, but not quite.
Like a shorter Waluigi.
Fun fact: not tall enough to be Luigi because you have to be 5'6". I'm 5'7". I'm just a little bit too tall to be Luigi.
So, in Super Mario Maker, there's like that weird skinny Mario. That was like a glitch. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Like that thing looks so scary. John could voice him. He played Luigi in the Mario movie.
Why would John voice him? Because we know anything that Tim Burton does, it has Johnny Depp.
It'd be the other
and-
John.
Yeah.
Hi, Ilya.
I'm back.
Hi.
I just noticed I liked your blanket on the wall. Is that a blanket? I don't know.
It's a banner.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's basically a blanket. You could wear that.
Christian Bale, pianist method. Luigi's 5'8".
My life.
So is he 5'6" or 5'8"?
Well, our costume is 5'6".
This is the real question. Wait, can you tell us about the Luigi thing? The Luigi's Mansion thing? Yes, no, maybe, never mind. All right.
I think I can, because it's not really secret. We're just we're doing an event. Luigi will be there, and then we have like tables set up, and it's basically just so like kids that aren't able to go trick or treating because they're sick can trick or treat with us. So we'll probably have candy and play video games.
Oh, that's
gonna be it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, come to Canada.
Am I gonna be too old to enjoy this?
You could be like, hey, I'm a Nintendo brand ambassador.
Yeah. Like, go back to America. Ron Perlman as Bowser. Yeah. I mean, if they did like a live action.
I think he means Ron Perlman as King Boo.
What? As King Boo?
Because he says Johnny Depp could be Bowser.
Oh.
What did I miss? All I did was grab a thing.
We were talking about if Tim Burton did a Luigi's Mansion movie.
I could see it.
Yeah, I wonder who they're gonna get to voice the Mario people in the Mario movie they're actually making.
It should be the guy who voices Mario and everyone.
You'd think so.
That would be a big job for him.
That would be, because you'd have to voice at least 5 of the characters.
Yeah, he'd just be like, please cast someone else.
I mean, he has to at least do Mario.
Yeah, the paycheck would be really good as well. He'd be getting like $1 million.
He'd be exhausted, though. Imagine how many recordings that would be. It's not just like, oh, I gotta go. You're gonna come in Monday and Tuesday for Mario, Wednesday and Thursday for Luigi, and each of those days. Like,
we actually, so I dressed up as Waluigi for Fan Expo because Charles was supposed to be there, but he ended up canceling.
Oh.
Yeah, so thankfully I had a Wario with me, otherwise it would have been a very sad day.
Alright, you guys ready?
Let's do this!
Hello everyone and welcome. I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse as all of you may know me. Here with us is Chablima and Ilya, our partners here on the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about our favorite things about Luigi's Mansion for, I guess now, the Nintendo 3DS and the Gamecube. Oddly enough, the Gamecube was one of the only Nintendo consoles that didn't release with the Mario game. Instead, his brother made his first appearance in his own game, which is really cool. So in this video, we're going to be talking about all of the things that we love about it. Think of it as like the top 5 or whatever best of Luigi's Mansion. And after this, we'll have another video going over all of the things that we hate or would change. So, starting us off, Tubes, what do you have for us? What is your favorite part or favorite thing about Luigi's Mansion? This could be the GameCube and the 3DS version.
I'm thinking about buying the 3DS version because I haven't gotten it yet. I also haven't played the GameCube version in a long time because, as I've mentioned before, I had it on GameCube and I have replayed it like so many times. And I went over to a friend's place with my game case, and lo and behold, my Luigi's Mansion never came back. So I'm thinking that they stole it. Yeah. One thing that I really liked about Luigi's Mansion is, like, there's a lot going on within the mansion that you can interact with. Like, it's not just, like, you have your different goals that you're going towards. It's, like, you can kind of do everything at your own pace a little bit, and you kind of, like, you walk into a room, and it's like, oh, you can water the plant with your vacuum cleaner. That sounds kind of weird, but whatever. And they have the warp zones, which is really cool. You go up to a mirror and you look at it, and boom, you're in a different place. And that's one thing that I really liked about Luigi's Mansion. I felt like it was just like really thought out and like just like a fully fleshed out game.
Yeah, and it wasn't, although it was like kind of sold to us as like a horror Mario game, there's a lot of really funny comedy in it as well. Like you Speaking of ghosts, Tubes has been haunted herself. No, so
which poster fell?
The one beside the arrow.
And now she froze.
Yeah. She's being super haunted.
Okay, continue.
We're waiting on you to unfreeze.
Yeah.
It's just... Tubes? Hello?
In the words of Megamind, Olo. Watched that the other day.
I have yet to watch that. I've wanted
It's
to.
so funny, surprisingly, even though I don't like Will Ferrell.
Aww. Why not?
He annoys me.
Oh.
He annoys me. I like Elf, though. Again, weird,
Elf is
because I don't
really
like Will
funny.
Ferrell. Elf is a
She's
classic.
back!
I'm so
There
sorry.
she is.
Apparently the ghost attacked and it also attacked my internet. Hello.
Yeah. Alright, so my favorite part of Luigi's Mansion is just how different it is. Like, if you would say, hey, Gamecube, like if Nintendo, Miyamoto, everyone, Fuji, whatever, came to me and was like, hey, Jesse, we're a big fan of what you do. The GameCube's coming out. We're working on a Mario game for it, but it's not going to be done until like 2 years after the GameCube releases. So we need some ideas. What can we do with Mario's brother to give him his own game? A lot of people would have thought of what they did on the Wii U with New Super Luigi U, which was literally just Mario with Luigi. I don't think I would have ever thought of doing like a spooky, scary Luigi's Mansion style game. That would have been one of the last things that I thought of. But I think it worked so well. And like I had mentioned, the comedy aspect of it, there's a lot of comedy in the game where it's not just ghosts trying to scare you, but whenever you start to catch a ghost with the vacuum cleaner, they like freak out and start like flying all over the place, and they'll like knock stuff off the walls or off the tables and things, and like it's just really hectic. And I think it's really good. And then some of the boss ghosts they have are like shaped a bit different or like shaped a bit funny, like they're baby ghosts or parent ghosts or whatever. I just like the overall theme of the game, to where they make it so that it's not just spooky scary, but it is a lot of comedy as well.
And yeah, like you said about like the different shapes, like it's not just Boo. You're not in there hunting a bunch of different Boo characters. You're actually hunting like actual ghosts of the mansion, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. All right. Ilya, who has not played the game, but you have seen other people play the game, and you know a lot about it. I'm sure you've seen trailers and stuff, especially for the 3DS version. So what is your favorite part about the game? What makes you want to go out and play it?
I would say the fact that it's not a spin-off Mario game. I wouldn't, based on what I know of it, I wouldn't call it a spin-off Mario game, because it has a lot of the elements, I think, of main Mario games, except they just centered it around his brother, and therefore everything else fell in place to be different in that sense. The story's different. You're instead of moving this guy who jumps around and is very brave and trying to win over Peach or whatever, save Peach, you're playing as this guy who is really scared and really timid, and so I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with this. That attracts is an attractive quality to me in that, like, it's a Mario game, but totally different. And what makes it different is something that I actually relate to a lot, because I was always that kid that, even though it was just a video game, I would get freaked out when I would go into certain dungeons in Zelda and stuff, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, and this is crazy, what am I gonna do? Things like that. And to be like playing as Luigi in Luigi's Mansion, it's like, oh, he's scared too, and it's almost like so funny that you're not worried about it, I imagine. So I don't know if that made any sense, but that's something that seems really cool to me. It's a Mario game, but it's not. It's its own thing, and it seems like it's done really well.
I also like that Mario is the damsel in distress this game.
Oh yeah. So another thing that I thought of is that with the Ubisoft, actually, whenever Nintendo has been letting a third party work with their characters, especially lately, like with Hyrule Warriors, they told them that they could make whatever type of Zelda game they wanted or do whatever they wanted to do in the crossover, but they could not have traditional dungeons, because Aonuma wanted them to make the type of Zelda game that he wouldn't be able to. And obviously, if he makes a Zelda game, it has to have some sort of dungeon. So he said that that was the one thing that they couldn't do. And similarly with Ubisoft, Miyamoto told them, you can make whatever type of Mario game you want, but the main focus or the main gameplay mechanic cannot be him jumping. And in this game, Luigi's Mansion, that's something that it also has. Although it's not made by a third party, it's still a first party game, but there's no jumping in it. So I think they did a lot to make it seem very different from traditional Mario games, because in this game there is really no jumping. Like I think Luigi kind of like hops in the air when he gets scared sometimes, but yeah. Anyways, Choobs, what is your next thing?
100% the soundtrack in Luigi's Mansion.
Yes.
I get that main theme stuck in my head all the time, and also the way that Luigi goes, Mario, Mario.
It's so sad.
The way that they did like the soundtrack and like the different sound effects in that game were really well done. But I mean, what else do I expect from Nintendo after all?
I almost forgot about the music. I really love that main theme.
Yeah.
Alright, so my next favorite thing, and I guess this is the last thing before we move on to the things that we would have changed, and this kind of goes along with that. So Luigi's Mansion is a very fun game, but what I always thought would make it more fun, what I think would make almost any game more fun, is to experience it with a friend. And with Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS, they did that. You have like Booigi or whatever his name is. So yeah, it's just really great. You have like a ghost Luigi that you can play the game with, like you and a friend. Even if they don't own the game, you can do that download play thing, and it's really cool. So I would have to go with the multiplayer functionality. And I have a theory in my head. It's probably not true, but I like the idea of Nintendo putting the multiplayer in this Luigi's Mansion game to see what the fan response is, because they'd also announced Luigi's Mansion 3. So if the fans love the multiplayer aspect, maybe Luigi's Mansion 3 will have like a true multiplayer aspect and not just someone playing as the ghost version of Luigi. And then you will have maybe Mario joining as well. And especially with the big push in online multiplayer, hopefully it wouldn't just be couch co-op, it would actually be full-on online multiplayer to where I could play as Luigi, and then for once, Mario is the second player.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just my thought. And with that, we can move on to the things we hate. Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Although there's probably not much that I hate about Luigi.
I was gonna say, I'm like thinking. I started thinking about it the minute that I finished my last answer. I was like, I don't know what I don't like about this game.
This will be a short video.
Still distraught.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Hello everyone, I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse. Here with us is Ilya and Chablima. We're going to be talking about our biggest dislikes or hates or just things that we would change about Luigi's Mansion. It recently had a remake for the Nintendo 3DS where it's seen one of the big changes that I always wanted, which was multiplayer. So, we're going to be talking about some of the other things that were our least favorite or things that we hated or wished that we also could have changed about the original game and maybe even the 3DS version. Before you start commenting saying that we're just hating on Luigi's Mansion, we also have a video up of us discussing all of the things that we love about Luigi's Mansion. So starting us off this time, once again, Chablima. Can you think of anything that you disliked about the original that you would have changed?
Ooh, the one thing that I can think of, the entirety of Egad, I think his name was, right? The guy that makes all the stuff.
He's
I
amazing.
like him. No, I like him as a person. But I felt like the entirety of like leaving the mansion to go talk to him was very long and drawn out.
Oh, yeah.
And that was probably my least favorite part of that entire game. I was like, oh great, I have to go back and do such and such. But yeah, he's a great character. I just don't like having to go back to his area.
Yeah.
I can't believe I actually thought of something. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm amazing.
All right, with mine, like I mentioned at the end of the last video, the multiplayer was something that I really loved about them adding it to the 3DS version. But something else I would say is just the length of the game, which they kind of fixed in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, where they added in several different mansions instead of just one big mansion. Because so when I was little, I was playing through the game, and I remember it taking, like, it just seemed like such a long game. And I was replaying it a few years ago, and I, like, went through and beat the entire game in, like, 4 to 5 hours, and I was like, oh, I don't remember the game being this short. So the thing that I would definitely have changed would have just be the length, because again, I can't really think of anything that was that bad about the game. So with any good game, the worst part is just that it ends, because you want it to keep going because it is so great. So a cop-out answer, I apologize, but that is my thing. I would also say that I would like to have, and this kind of goes with exploring other mansions, I would have liked more of the outside of the mansion to be explorable.
Yeah.
Which is also something they do in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. Like, if they would have given you the option to, like, walk outside of the mansion to, like, the professor's laboratory or whatever it is, instead of just, like, having the cutscene or whatever. And
yeah, and there are a few parts where you actually, like, there's a little bit of the outside, but it's like you go outside and then you, like, hop into the well, or you go outside and you teleport through the doghouse to get to a boss on the other side.
Yeah, and I don't feel like the story of the mansion was that fleshed out as well.
Yeah. I don't even understand. Like, how did they come upon having this mansion?
Yeah, and then...
What was... Yeah.
Yeah. Ilya, finally with you. Was there anything that you just didn't like about the game? You mentioned that you never played it. What has kept you from actually playing it? Was there anything about it, or
is it because it was Luigi instead of Mario?
Yeah, are you
No, that would actually
racist
make me
against
want to play it
Luigi?
more. Usually, if given the option, I prefer to play as Luigi.
The only
Just because I'm the
green-clad-
youngest of 3 kids, so I'm used to playing the extra character. Actually, I was used to watching because I was the youngest of 3. I was very used to just watching, which was fine because I sucked at games for a very long time. Still do, but anyway. I don't know if there was anything like specifically about the game itself that turned me off, other than just like I just didn't have time, or of all the games I wanted to play. Like when I got my 3DS, I was like, oh, I could get this, but I would actually rather get these games first. You know, I debated for a long time between Luigi's Mansion and Ocarina of Time, because I was like, I've already played Ocarina of Time, but I'd like to try the 3DS version. I was like, or I could try a new game. But I think ultimately I found Ocarina of Time for a cheap price on eBay, and that's why I got it. As far as anything in the game, the only thing I remember watching that it's not like a turnoff as much as it just creeped me out as a kid. I mean, I literally had nightmares that were, quote, triggered by the well and Dead Hand from Zelda, and that didn't keep me from Zelda, did it? Apparently not. Although I do still sometimes cry if I play the Shadow Temple. I don't know why. It's an easy temple, but anyway, dungeon. The one boss that's like the infant ghost, the baby ghost, that one of all the ghosts creeped me out the most.
Oh, I don't know. I can hear him crying.
Yeah. Of all of the bosses, that was the one ghost that I was like, what even? Also, the concept to me, even as a young child, of a dead infant. It was just like, I'm like an adult, whatever.
What happened to that entire family that they all died in there?
That's what I'm wondering.
Come on, Nintendo,
I get the same thought when I watch Coco. Like, I love the movie Coco, but when you see little kids in the land of the dead, you're just like, what happened to you? Oh, no.
Yeah.
So, off topic, sort of, but when you started talking about the Shadow Temple in the bottom of the well, I just thought of, like, Luigi going and, like, exploring with his vacuum and, like, sucking up all of the re-dead ghosts and stuff. All of the pose and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, like, what if he encountered a Skulltula and he tried to vacuum it up?
I vacuum up spiders. And then I put in, like, if I don't feel like squishing them, I vacuum them up in a tube. And then we stuff paper towels in the tube till they're dead. So they can't crawl back out.
I was going to say, don't they just continue to live their lives in the vacuum cleaner?
Well, maybe eventually. A roach could.
Yeah.
Because those things survive anything. They serve no purpose to humanity. I don't know why they exist.
That's like, I've lived on my own for 6 years. And one time I had to call my dad to come kill a really big spider, which is hilarious because I had my own place. I lived a half-hour drive away from my dad, and I was like, Dad, can you come over and kill the spider?
Oh, I would so do that. I would so do that. I would go to my neighbor's house and be like, hi, because I don't get friends with my neighbors. Like, I live right next to people, and I'm like, I'm not talking to you. Ew.
Yeah.
We exist separate lives, okay? Ugh. But I would go to my neighbors and be like, hi, can you come kill a bug? Unless it was like some random old dude. I'd pick someone that looks like they have a family or something.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're ready to move on to our final topic, or the Zelda mailbag.
The mailbag.
Yeah.
Very short podcast.
I was going to say, it's only been an hour and a half.
It's because we don't have our Daniel.
Yeah.
I know. And it's not like we haven't gotten sidetracked either. We have. But not, I guess, to the normal extent.
Maybe we get sidetracked more when there's 4 people. Because then all 4 of us need to have input on our sidetrack.
That's true. Mm-hmm. It's not just everyone putting input on the first topic. It's everyone putting input on the sidetracked topic, whatever.
Also, I don't have anything to drink in here. I've just been playing with it because that's the kind of person I am.
I have like one
I do that.
drink in my Gatorade left. I'm very sad.
I started a new water when we started this podcast. And it's already almost done.
I still think I have a broken toe.
I just got more water.
Nice.
Water is good.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and Shablima and Ilya, the water drinkers. I am Jesse. Game over Jesse. Here with us is Ilya and Shablima, again, the water drinkers. Today on the Zelda mailbag, as always, we're going to be answering your Zelda questions that you send in. Sometimes we don't have enough time to go through and answer every single question that we get. So if you would like to have your question guaranteed to be featured on the Zelda mailbag, please head to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can support the channel, help us out, and also get a bunch of really cool stuff, such as guaranteeing your question to be answered on the podcast, as well as getting a shout out like these amazing people. We have Jacob, who's actually J-Link for those who don't know, Michael, Elmer, Bootleg Boy, Gus, Justin, That One Pancake, Key of Time 15, Monica, Casey, Link Used the Triforce, Megan, Lunarium, Robbie, Shadow to Us, Rusty, and Lovable Christy. So, Ilya, starting us off, do you have a question picked out? Or would you like us to move to someone else first?
I am looking.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm putting more questions into the Google Doc, and I have no idea why they're coming out that color, and I'm so sorry.
No. Oh, this person has like 2 questions in one thing. I'm trying to figure out which one I should do. I'll do the second one first. So, Zinfandel Glitter, asks, what's the best girl for you in Zelda? Ship-wise or
that.
just? What?
Yeah.
Dang it.
The video that went up earlier was literally who is the best
Oh,
Zelda
talking about our
waifu.
waifus.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Dang
That's
it.
okay, because I was going to say don't ever ship them. Except for Skyward Sword. Well, then I'll do, the one before. Did y'all do that one too?
I don't know. What is it?
No.
Okay, I'll do that one then. Zinfandel Glitter also asks, do you think an original top-down Zelda is a dead game option? Honestly, if Nintendo does it, I think it'll work out. I trust Nintendo. If they don't do it, then it probably is a dead option. If they do it, then there's probably a good reason and we'll probably all love it.
Well, A Link Between Worlds was top-down and that sold really well, right?
Diagonal, but yeah. Which I guess that would be a good example of them updating the option.
Yeah.
So honestly, if Nintendo does it, because like I think we've talked about this before, like when people were like, "What if Link was a girl? What if they made Zelda the main character?" And those are some things that I'm like, no, stick to tradition, whatever. But honestly, if Nintendo does it with one of their Zelda games, it's probably gonna be great. And that's not me blindly following and loving Nintendo. That's just everything I've played from Nintendo Zelda-wise, for the most part, I have loved. I have no interest in playing Triforce Heroes. That is an exception. But most of the time, I'm like, even when I had doubts about Breath of the Wild, now it's like my favorite. So that's my answer.
Yeah, like Jesse mentioned, A Link Between Worlds is basically like a top-down. So, like, I don't think that it's too far out of the realm of being realistic, because, like...
Did she freeze
How else
again?
are we gonna do? Did I freeze? Yeah, I froze.
You have...
Oh, a second.
You had a very nice face that was frozen on the camera. It's like you were trying to think, but you were kind of mad, but you were kind of amused.
Oh no! Did you guys... Okay.
Alright, but yeah, I think I would actually really love it if they did that. So, between... Like, we'll probably get like 2 or 3 Zelda games before the next big Zelda game comes out, whatever the follow-up is to Breath of the Wild. Like, their 2D team has been working on a 2D game since Triforce Heroes and A Link Between Worlds. They likely have another third party possibly working on some sort of spin-off or a remake. Like, Hyrule Warriors did so well on the Wii U that they ported it to the 3DS, and then it did so well there, Nintendo let them do the same type of spin-off with Fire Emblem, and that did so well that they ended up bringing Hyrule Warriors to the Switch. So I fully believe that Hyrule Warriors 2 could happen in the next couple of years. I think the 2D team's going to put out something, and I think it's very likely that some sort of remake or port is going to come to the Switch, whether it's like a port of Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD, or like Skyward Sword HD being remade for the Switch. I think something like that's going to happen. So with just the 2D game, what I would love to see is if Nintendo did their own sort of indie game, like we've seen Blossom Tales being like a 2D style Zelda game. If Nintendo did their own like $20-$30 indie style game that's just like, you know, doesn't have the full budget of a game like A Link Between Worlds, but it is another game that looks similar to A Link to the Past or Minish Cap, and it's just, hey, we worked for like a year and a half on this game. It's the same length as A Link to the Past. It has everything else that you would expect from a retro 16-bit style Zelda game. Then that would be really great. Like, we just seen Mega Man 11 come from Capcom, and that's not a big, although it is a new big first party game, it's not one that has the budget of something that you would expect from a typical Capcom game. So if Nintendo did something like that, like their own version of Mega Man 11, to where it was just another 2D top-down game in the style of A Link to the Past, I would really like it. Yeah, so next question, Jublima.
My question comes from Carol Bitt. Are all Zelda games going to have voice actors like Joe, aka Daruk? I mean, I like that they added voice actors and that they had these cutscenes in Breath of the Wild. I think that it really added just kind of like a little bit of extra flavor to the game. However, I feel like it was a lot of kind of extra work. And depending on like the different ways that they take Zelda throughout the next couple of years here, like I can't imagine that they're going to keep following the same format like that. So like we probably will see voice acting, but it's not going to happen in every single Legend of Zelda game. It's probably just going to happen like here and there randomly when they start putting lots, I wouldn't say lots of effort, because they put lots of effort into all of their games, but like Breath of the Wild was an open world game, and based on how the storyline played out, it made more sense for the cutscenes to actually have voice acting, because the cutscenes went for longer, whereas you don't just walk up to someone, you press A couple of times, and you're like, cool, going to Death Mountain.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it.
So this is, I think, similar to how I answered the last question. I think the big Zelda games are going to have it, like whatever the follow-up is to Breath of the Wild, because whether or not some people like the voice acting, like, you know, you can just read the text if that's what you want to do. And like Nintendo put voice acting, they tried a bunch of new stuff with Breath of the Wild, and it ended up winning them a ton of awards. So chances are a lot of the new changes that we've seen in Breath of the Wild is going to make their way back into the next Zelda game, whether that's voice acting or whatever. Like, we've seen the stamina wheel first appear in Skyward Sword, and it returned in Breath of the Wild. So voice acting, I think, is going to make that same transition to the next one. But it could just be like how Hyrule Warriors had more of like a narration instead of actual voice acting. So maybe something like that. I think that would be really great for the smaller 2D games. Like, because they typically start with giving you the backstory and everything. And instead of, like in Phantom Hourglass, whatever his name is, Tetra's little sidekick pirate guy, he's like telling you the story of what happened in Wind Waker. Instead of something like that happening, maybe it's just like while he's showing you the pictures, it has a narrator explaining it to you as well. So that's what I would like to see. What about you, Ilya? Since you're like the only real voice actor person here.
Well, I would hope they continue to do voice acting for a selfish reason, and that is if I'm able to work hard. And well, I know I'm able to work hard, but get myself to a point where I could be in one. That would be cool.
Call up Patricia and be like, "Hey guys,
hey, remember me?" Call all of them and be like, "Remember? I swear I have some talent." But anyway, I think I echo actually a lot of what Jubilima said, and that is it really did work for Breath of the Wild as much as a lot of people didn't like it. It worked for the same reason she said, and that is it was open world and you needed longer cutscenes to fill in for what you may not know if you didn't go to certain areas or if you chose to exclude it. I personally like both ways because I do remember, like, I can hear in my head the sounds that you hear like during Twilight Princess or Wind Waker or Ocarina of Time when it's just silent and you're reading it and then you press A and it makes the little sound as it goes to the next dialogue. Or I know I wasn't the only one that as a kid, when you would do it with like friends or with siblings, you all would add voices to it yourself. So but I wasn't like sad that I didn't get to do that with Breath of the Wild. And it wasn't like I didn't get to do it at all. You could do it with any NPC. It was just the cutscenes you didn't. As far as do I actually think they're going to do it again? I think they will. I think they might try it again because for their first time doing it with Breath of the Wild, I had my serious doubts in the beginning, and then the more I played it and the more I listened to it, and maybe this is as a working voice actress myself, I liked it. And I was like, for your first time, there were some things that I didn't like, but those were all directional things, all things that the directors asked them to do. Or I didn't like how that line was written, but I can't get too mad about that because they're having to match it perfectly to something that was originally Japanese. Which that might be someone's argument for why they shouldn't do it. But I would honestly say Nintendo will accept the challenge. They already did, and I can see them getting better and better with it. To anyone who says the voice acting was crap, I was with you in the beginning, and now I'm totally against you. They had solid voice actors and voice actresses, and despite me not liking some of the directions that the directors took with them, they're phenomenal voice actors in and of themselves, and they really fit. And again, this might be as an actress myself, I really appreciate what they did, because for me, playing Zelda is half a theatrical experience because there's a story, there's characters, there's all this crazy music, amazing music. God bless Koji Kondo, and whoever else works on them, like Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess were different people, I think. But I don't know. I think they will. I could go on forever about it. I should just make a video about that. I think they will do it, and I think it'll just continue to get better and better. And I hope they do, so I can do one day.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or I should emphasize, I think they'll do it where they believe it's necessary. If the next Zelda game, they don't see it as a necessity, they won't do it. Mm-hmm. They're very good about cutting out unnecessary stuff. Except for the Triforce Fetch quest in Wind Waker, but they fixed that. They fixed it.
So, are you guys ready for this one to be the last question?
Yeah,
sure.
All right. So, I'm sorry you hate talking to me that much, Jubilima. That's so mean.
No.
No. Okay, so, this person submitted a lot of questions, but I think this one's really interesting. Clements says, what if they made an adult Wind Waker? What ideas could be put into it? Would it be possible? So I've talked about this a little bit. I think, and this was kind of what I said with, like Ubisoft. Recently they made their own Mario game with Mario plus Rabbids, and then Nintendo let them use Star Fox. So what if Nintendo let Ubisoft use Zelda? Which is something that they haven't been able to do yet. But Star Atlas has done really well. Mario plus Rabbids did really well. It did so well they kept on updating it with DLC because the fans liked it so much. So anyways, my answer kind of goes with both of these, because it would sort of be a Wind Waker sequel, but it would also be the type of game that I could see Ubisoft making as a Zelda game. Sort of in the style of like Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, not in the mature way where like you're killing a bunch of people and like there's a bunch of adult references and stuff, but in the idea of like there's a bunch of like towers or outposts that you can go and take over and like reclaim that part of the land, sort of like when you in Breath of the Wild go to one of the towers and you unlock that part of the map, and then you can go around and like destroy all of the little bokoblin camps. But my ideal would be whenever Link and everyone first make it to a new island, or the new Hyrule that we see in Spirit Tracks. I think it would be really cool to see, or to have a game to where like an adult Wind Waker Link, an adult Tetra, or like they come across an island or something that is surrounded by a few smaller islands about the size of the traditional island from Wind Waker, like Windfall Island or whatever. And there are people on the island that are kind of in hiding because they were forced out of their village. So maybe there's like 7 or 8 villages across the island, and on each of the smaller islands surrounding it, and you have to like go to each one of those villages and like stop whoever the leader that took it over is, and like once you beat that dungeon, it would be something similar to Majora's Mask when you beat the Snowhead Temple or whatever it was called, and you've seen it completely change from winter to spring, and suddenly all of the Gorons were happy and living peacefully and stuff instead of suffering. So I would like to see something like that, to where as you complete each of these dungeons, those settlements are able to have the villagers come back and repopulate or take back over their village, and you're able to like go there and buy new weapons or upgrades and different armor and clothes and bombs and stuff like that. Sort of like in Breath of the Wild, if when you came across these, like there was a bunch of ruins that you would come across, and there's nothing you could do to rebuild them. So think of something along the lines of Breath of the Wild, but with like once you unlock the tower and you go through and you can take out all of the little bokoblin camps, and once you do that, you see people from different villages coming to repopulate it or whatever, and then that area is now rebuilt into a city or a town like it used to be. Basically, I just want towns and villages in Zelda games. Yeah, that's my long tangent. I'm sorry. I'll leave. Ilya, what are your ideas? Or I don't know. Sorry.
Well, I was reading the comment section when it had to, so I'm so sorry, because I was like reading the comments, and then I was like, oh shoot, we're answering a question. I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
Oh my gosh. The question is, what if they had made an adult Wind Waker, and what ideas would be put into it? Would it be possible? And so I think Jesse's main point was that he was talking about wanting to add like more villages and such.
Oh yeah. I would love to see that cartoon cell shaded, even though we have seen cell shaded Links, but that specific style of a cell shaded Link as an adult, and also get Epona and stuff. I think the first video I voiced, the one I voiced for winning the competition thing, was I actually had that line where I was like, we could have gotten an adult Toon Link and Epona. Oh. And I remember reading that and going, yeah, wait a minute. I would love to see that, because I bet Epona would be freaking adorable. Toon cell shaded. Like, oh, I can see it. Like, even just little Epona and Majora's Mask, getting to ride her was really cool, because you couldn't in Ocarina of Time, only as an adult. I don't know, because I'm like, I would like for them to find a bigger land so that we could have Epona somehow, wherever I guess it would be a sequel actually to Phantom Hourglass. It'd be between Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, because Phantom Hourglass is the same Link, right? As Wind Waker? So, or even if it's not the same exact Link, because Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass look the same, obviously, just an adult version of one of those somewhere in between, then we'd have another adult timeline game. I don't know, I can't think of anything specifically I'd want other than to see an adult Toon Link, and Epona would be super cute and super cool. Yeah. That's all I got.
Tubes.
I would honestly, like, I wouldn't say so much as, like, seeing, like, Link as an adult in Wind Waker, so much as just seeing another game made in a similar style to Wind Waker. And I was just kind of thinking, like, yes, adult Link riding that talking boat that you befriend. Do you think that adult Link would handle all of the sass that that boat throws at him?
Adult Link would have an axe type weapon and threaten the King of Red Lions with it and be like, shut up or I turn you into firewood.
I thought he was gone after Wind Waker because he went down with Hyrule.
The king did,
but
I mean, he's like a spirit when that happens anyways.
It's true.
Like, sort of
King
like he is
Daphnis.
in Breath of the Wild. Yeah, like they're both spirits.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Otherwise, he would have been Tetra's dad.
I guess I saw it as like his spirit being freed, kind of like in Breath of the Wild, where at the end they all look at Zelda and Link from the castle and they're like, okay, we're all good now, bye. I don't know, I saw it as that. Same with Ocarina of Time, where they're all Death Mountain.
Yeah, maybe.
That was just my thought, but that would be funny though.
But yeah, that's basically all I have. Give me more Wind Waker stuff. Give me that wicked bomb explosion animation.
Oh,
I like the swirls.
Yeah.
I want that hammer again. The skull hammer.
Did you guys... I posted the trailer a while back for Ni no Kuni 2 on PlayStation 4.
That was a long time ago.
It was... Basically, they took the Wind Waker art style, where, you know, Wind Waker was made for the Gamecube, and they basically have the exact same Wind Waker art style, but what it would look like using PlayStation 4 graphics, as opposed to the Wii U, where it just took what the Gamecube was and upgraded it a little bit. So it looks really great, and I think a modern day, like if they tried making the Wind Waker art style on the Nintendo Switch, it would look like 10 billion times better, and it already looks really good.
I was gonna say, Ni no Kuni is very anime, like almost kind of like Ghibli feel to it, or Ghibli, however people pronounce that.
Yeah. All right, I guess that's the end of the podcast.
A very short podcast.
I guess when we don't have Daniel, the podcast lasts less than 2 hours. I don't know. Alright, so thank you everyone for watching. If you want to support the channel, please head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse. Go on YouTube and search for Geek Apprentice. Go to RuneScape and add Jalima.
Yes, find me on RuneScape. Also, come follow me on Twitch because I am planning on playing Hat in Time next.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to start a Twitch, but capture cards are a lot expensive.
Yeah. Oh, I just used my computer because and then my wonderful beef gave me a capture card.
All right, so Ilya, where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at IlyaRose_GeekApprentice. And on YouTube, you can look up Ilya Rose. You can look up The Geek Apprentice, but it might be easy to find me just at Ilya Rose. Yeah, I release videos every other Wednesday, so there will be a video this coming Wednesday. And I think there's an announcement at the end of this Wednesday's video and an announcement at the end of the next video on November 7th. There's a lot of announcement endings coming up in the next couple months. So that's good. Do I do anything else? I do voiceovers for Game Over Jesse. I haven't done one in a while, I don't think. But there might be one that I'm supposed to have done and I haven't done it yet. Yeah. And if you need voice acting needs, just look up Ilya Rose on Casting Call Club. CastingCallClub.com. I'm on there.
All right, Tubes. Who are you?
I am Tubes. You can find me on Twitter at Tublima, Instagram at Tublima, and RuneScape because I'm just gonna throw that in there. Also, like I said, follow me on Twitch. My Twitch is Tublima, except I've added an extra A, so it's more like you're screaming Tublima. And I think that's all I do. And of course, you can find me here once a week on the podcast. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, all right. So look forward to more videos from Ilya and A Hat in Time from Chiblima. And you can find me, everything is just /GameOverJesse, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. It's probably /GameOverJesse. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Chiblima. Thank you, Ilya, for joining. And